happening. Even though the show is been over, we are still
going through
right now.
Do you want to talk about that? Or no?
Girl, what part?
Real life that is happening right now.
Hello, it's your girl. Meet me in the middle. Yes, today we're unwinding from the middle. What? Kandi, honey, and she got her cornrow braids and a beautiful ponytail, and we're unwinding with Tamika Scott, honey, and she got the diva bangs and that little ball sitting on the top. But anyway, you know they got the conversation, and where there is conversation, I know y'all want to know. So come on and follow me, and I'll meet you there.
We have Tamika Scott in the building. And she is about to speak on it. Yeah. Okay. She done put a little soul into speak on it.
I can't do falsetto.
That's right, you do.
I can't do it. I wish I could. Okay, you do it. Speak on it. There you go.
Hey, I take this so long time coming. The fans have been asking for you to sit on the speak on it chair so that you can give it to us. But before we get started, Tamika surprised me with a full home cooked meal that she made. Hello, okay?
Hey girl, we got on the same. It's gonna be a little different interview today.
She said she gonna come with it.
Yes,
she knows the key to my heart.
What's on the menu?
It's through my belly.
I have cabbage, rice, cream of chicken, rice. Cream of chicken is gonna go over the rice. I have my sweet and spicy salmon and macaroni and cheese.
Oh, it's ready. So we can make a plate.
Just a little something.
This is gonna be one of those. What is this called? This is gonna be a mukbang or mukbang.
I know I have
slash speak on it.
On my plate back on.
She came over here with a whole pan of cabbage, macaroni and cheese.
The very good meat. The Lord, let's eat.
Amen. You know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've been telling you that she has a cookbook, and all these recipes are in the cookbook, right?
So let's show it to you here. Her new cookbook, Table Set Cooking with Tamika Scott. A taste of the South in your mouth.
That's right. Smacking macaroni and cheese. Not your average cabbage.
Oh, not your average cabbage. I like that.
My sweet and spicy salmon. And of course, just some regular rice, girl. Ain't nothing fancy about no rice.
That's good, y'all. This macaroni and cheese is good. You know, normally I be judging people's food because even though I don't cook a lot, I can cook. I know you don't know that because I ain't never cooked for you.
I be saying you.
So when I taste people's food, I'm like, but this is good. This macaroni and cheese, girl. You better cook, girl. And that's spicy. I mean, what you said, spicy?
My sweet and spicy salmon.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you, baby.
I love the sweet and the spicy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm not even going to be able to concentrate on you because I'm over here thinking about this food right here.
I feel like a 10-year-old.
And you like to dance when you eat.
When it's
That's
good.
how I be doing. That's how I be doing. Nah, this is definitely good. You know me, I tell you the truth now.
Yes, you will. You ain't got no problem telling the truth.
I'll be like, stop the camera. But this is really, really good.
Thank you.
What made you decide you wanted to do a cookbook?
Because I love to cook. Well, during the pandemic, we were home. And I just started cooking because we were touring. We was doing shows. So I was like, okay, I'm home now. I can cook and just you know how I am about my babies, about my kids. Like, whatever they ask for, they going to get. Started cooking, and then I started posting my plate. I will be grilling tomorrow. These beautiful little steaks, but I'm going to do a little marinade to go over it. People start saying, well, how did you make that? How do you make your broccoli casserole? Or how did you make that? 2 cups of low soy sauce. Make sure it's low sodium soy sauce. That's 2 cups of that. 1 1/3 cups of pineapple juice. I have 2 cups of brown sugar. So I start DMing everybody back. And it was like towards the end of the day, I'm still DMing people. And my husband like, baby, why don't you just do a cookbook? But I was like, I don't know, because sometimes you know how people know you for one thing. They can't accept you for nothing else. So I was like, they probably be like, she ain't cook. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you know I don't believe in that, being stuck in one thing.
I know you definitely don't. But sometimes it's hard for fans to see you in a different light. But for the first time during a pandemic, they were able to see me as mommy. And I started cooking. And then I said, let me go ahead and write this. So I wanted to do something different with my cookbook. It's called Table Set Cooking with Tamika Scott. A taste of the South in your mouth.
Let's move on to the kitchen. What do you like to listen to while you cook?
All types of music. Like my favorite singer is Michael Bolton. So when a man loves a woman, I can cook good when he's singing, baby.
So I wanted to, every recipe has a story attached to it, or why I like that recipe, or what I was doing that time in my life. So it has like from when I was 7 all the way until now. So it even talks about us, how we were on tour. How being on tour, how hard it was for us to find food that we really like. Because you had Tasha and Tiny, always wanted to do, you know, what they wanted. We wanted the chicken, or we wanted, so it was always like, okay, we got one restaurant, so where are we going to go? And it was like, oh, so I couldn't wait till I got home so I could cook what I wanted.
Right.
So stories like that, certain things are in the book.
The one thing that I didn't know you liked to cook that much when we were young. So that's why as we got older, and I, you know, it's like, of course, everybody grows as they become mature adults or whatever. And when you really just got in your cooking bag, I was like, okay, Tamika, this is a new Tamika. Honestly, there are a lot of things that are different about you as we've gotten older. I mean, I know when we were young, you know, we had the immaturity or whatever when we were young or whatever. But as we got older, you know, and we came back together as a group, you wanted to be more involved in the business stuff. Now, when we were young, you didn't really take a lot of, you know, lead as far as when it dealt with the business stuff.
Only thing I was involved in a lot with Burt Padell was the account. I remember one time we was on the bus, and I said, the bus driver returned the receipt to Bobby Sanders. So I said, Bobby, let me see the receipt. Bobby's like, oh, I'm just about to give him, he was giving him money out because we got petty cash every So I said, let me see what it is. Girl, this man had everything on there that did not apply to Escape. I said, we're not paying for this. We're not paying for this. We're not paying for this. Okay, you got light bulbs. Was that for the bus? We'll pay for this. So Bobby was like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm serious. And I told y'all. Yeah, I was like, you was like, oh, good job. Good job. But, you know, so I was like so in tune with the finance part of it. So I've always been there. Calling Burt Padell, what we doing, how much we making, you know, what are we paying out. So when it came to that, but I got really, really more involved when we came back together.
So what do you think changed during the time that we were separated from each other to when we got back together?
Girl, I learned how to budget. I had to learn how to budget. I would have been broke. So I was like the budgeting queen. Like I was Jesus, honey. I would take 2 loaves and 5 fish, and by the time I finished, it was like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So it was like just being able to, you know where every dime went, being able to keep up with all the bills, making sure everything was paid. So I was like really in tune with it. Like, oh, we got some money left over. Let's do a vacation. You know what I mean? So, right. And then let's put some away. Or, you know, Ocean going to college. We got to make sure we have enough for her books, for her apartment, for, you know, food and stuff like that. So I was very in tune with what we were spending, what was coming in.
I think that was something that I was impressed by. When we got back together.
Oh, wow.
When we reconnected, I like to say. Because it's like, you know, when you have so much time away from somebody and you know them as one person, and then when you come back together and you see all the changes, girl. You know, you see the difference.
I had to grow up, boo. I had to grow up. Because when we were younger, girl, I just wanted to have fun. Joning on everybody. That's all I wanted to do. I got kicked out the studio for joning on Jermaine. You remember that time I was joning on? Girl, he kicked me out the studio because we were joning. And then I said something and everybody was like, Tamika, White, that was me. I ain't gonna tell you what I said. I remember what I said.
I don't even remember what you said.
I said something mean about his teeth.
Oh, God.
Everybody got
a fix now, though.
Yeah, they look good. They look good. Yeah. But back then, he had said something about my ghetto hairstyle or whatever. And I was like, boy, I can change my hair. What you gonna do with your teeth?
Oh.
And he put me out y'all remember that? He put me out the studio.
I vaguely remember that.
I was like, so, okay, I'm gonna get your teeth. Like, back then, it was like, okay, you come at me, I'm gonna come back at you, but I'm gonna make it funny. So that was like, it was just fun, you know. But I had to grow up, girl. I having all them kids, I had to grow the boop up and quick.
Because now it's like, to me, you're very motherly. You're very catering to your family. I mean, you always been catering to your man, honey.
Yes, even when he didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
not the one I'm with now. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the previous. And you know, obviously now it's like you're this totally mature woman. I mean, I think everybody, you know, knows that our group had took a hiatus and then we came back together as a group. But during that hiatus, what were you doing?
So I was able to act. So I started acting. I acted with, I did a couple of Donald Gray's productions. I had a chance to do Stranger in My House. That was aired on BET with Vivica Fox, Clifton Powell, Angel Conwell. And then I was able to do Meet the Browns. Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. So I was acting. And then from there, I was able to start writing I wrote for his play, What's Done in the Dark. I wrote for his movie, Daddy's Little Girl. I did the cover song for Why Did I Get Married? So I started just penning. And then I had a song on there. What's the name of the song? I wrote about my man, girl. The Greatest Gift. The Greatest Gift, I had wrote about him. So he allowed me to sing on Daddy's Little Girl soundtrack. So I was doing a lot of writing and acting too.
That's dope.
Was Riley... Were you able to be a part of when she was pregnant, or were you guys?
No, we weren't really talking then.
We weren't talking then.
We weren't talking during that time. We missed a lot of years. I would say, from the time the group kind of like separated, I guess after third album, up until people saw us come back together a few months before we filmed Escape Still Kicking It. That was the first reality show that we did. It was a very long span of time in between.
It was.
You know what? Can you come? Let me talk to you for a second. Let me talk to you. It was a long span of time.
We missed a lot.
Yeah, so I missed a lot of her important years. She missed a lot of mine or whatever.
I didn't know how I feel about us joining our names on a company together yet.
I'm glad we reconnected.
Me too.
First, let me say that. Because now I feel like we be closer than ever now.
Yes.
But, I just wanted to kind of catch people back up because... during the course of filming our last show, Queens of R&B, we talked about a few things that happened. Obviously, we're still healing as a group from things that have happened in the past.
You in or you out?
That's why I just kind of wanted to touch on, okay, what was happening during that break of time that we weren't together, or people may not have had the chance to see you. Get people caught up on Tamika, what was going on in Tamika's life during that period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, girl. I was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. Like, I started dating Ocean and Naya's dad when I was like 16. So I was young, got pregnant, got married. We didn't get married because we was in love. We got married because, from the church. It's like you don't want to have your baby out of wedlock. So it's more, I didn't even know what being in love was.
Child, that's not what you had the guys thinking, but okay.
Yeah.
She had everybody thinking they
Wait a minute, don't say everybody now. It wasn't a lot.
Whoever shit it.
Right.
Seriously.
The crazy one. I think he was the one I thought I was going to marry, girl. But honey, his parents was like,
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Now, the men that you dated in your past definitely love you. Your husband loves you.
Oh, yeah. I loves him, girl.
So you definitely have an impact on the people whose lives you have touched.
Oh,
I would definitely say
thank you, boo.
Thank
you.
Okay, I'm going to ask. So when it was just the three of you for a very long time, meaning you, Tiny, Tasha.
Okay.
What was y'all doing as a group?
I became you.
What does that mean? For the people. I mean, you told me before, but to the people.
I was you. They were going out to eat without me. They wasn't telling me stuff they were doing. I said, I feel like Kandi right now. I just feel like an outcast. I used to tell them all the time. I used to joke with even A1. I used to joke with him. I was like, dang, I feel like Kandi now. I ain't getting no invitation to go out to eat. I'm just stuck in my room.
But that was happening even after our first reality show. When I went to do Broadway. And it was just three of y'all doing
it was just the three
concerts.
of us. So it was always them two together, and then I was left by myself.
Well, okay. I'm going to have to ask you, if you felt that way during that time, and you said...
I said, y'all treat me like Kandi.
So you knew when I would say those things in the past that there was some truth to what I was saying.
It was. Yeah, we treated you like outcasts. No, I'm just playing. Now,
a lot of people thought that I was like...
I did. I was like... It was almost like if I got too close, I was too close. That's not your sister.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you got to bag up some. So it was like we started out as really, really good friends, spending out over each other's house before we even started singing. Like going out to parties together, just spending time together. And we formed a sisterhood.
Yeah, you and I connected first.
We connected first. So we was always together all the time. So once the business got into it, it was almost like, okay, you got a sister in the group. So you can't go against your sister, even though when it comes to business. And it was times that I wanted to vote with you and Tiny, but I felt like I was not being loyal if I voted against my sister. And then Tiny came in it was like sometimes she was on our side, sometimes she was on your side. So the times when she wasn't on your side, you was the outcast.
Right. And just to be fair, like, even though I didn't like it, I understood it. Because I understand, you know, family sticks together or whatever, but just being on the other side of that, it used to be very frustrating. Now that we're adults, some of these things are playing out in front of the world. I have caught the blame sometimes for you and your sister not getting along or whatever. So I just want to ask you, do I be making you say or do anything?
No, you don't. You do not. No, and I don't know why. You get blamed for a lot. I be reading comments that has nothing to do with Escape.
Right.
And it'd be a whole nother situation. They'd be like, well, Kandi. I was like, well, dang, she getting blamed for something. Our group and outside, it's always, if it's raining outside, you did it.
Oh, Lord, here we go. It don't matter what.
Kandi did it. I made a joke like that the other day. Something happened. Me and my husband was home. Something happened. And I said, you know Kandi did it. And he didn't get it at first. And then he said, oh, you crazy girl. It's Kandi's fault.
So it's just kind of like funny to me when I see those comments or I hear those things.
How do you do it though?
I think for me, it's, I guess being on the Housewives for a very, very long time has got me used to dealing with, you know, negativity from people that I don't even know sometimes. And then sometimes, you know, from people that you be going back and forth with. You know, you have to learn how to get tough skin. I be trying to tell that to you because I know you allow everything to get to you.
Girl, I be like, when I see stuff, I be like, then I let it sit for a while till they see it, and then I erase it, and then I block them. But I be like, you ain't finna come on my page thinking you gonna say what you want to say. But sometimes I be like, all right, let me just block. I ain't got all day to go back and forth with these people.
Yeah,
so I'm learning, and I'm trying to get tough skin. But I'm like, why? Like, what's the purpose?
I don't know, but I know with you, it's just like I be feeling so bad for you sometimes because I know this is a new thing for you.
Yeah, it is.
New world that you're coming in. But I think it's something that you do need to try to get used to because people like seeing you on TV. They do. You have made a real impact on people, and especially since the last show came out. People love, you know, they got a chance to see the fun side of you.
Not what y'all saw on the last show.
Well, they saw some of the craziness too, but I mean, I feel like all people have a good side and a crazy side. I think we all do. So I just feel like once you get comfortable in the fact that you can just be you and not care about what anybody has to say about it, then you be all right.
Yeah,
but
I'm good on that end. It's just don't think you gonna say what you want to say to me and I ain't gonna clap back. I can go repent afterwards, but sometimes I be, I'm trying. I'm a work in progress.
Speaking of the show,
Tiny and I was too. I brought them to my sister. We all hung out. We had a good time. We got in trouble together.
how did you feel about going into the process of filming the show?
So going into it, I really felt like, okay, it was a great idea. Us, SWV, the idea of us doing a show together. And honestly, the first scene that my sister, well, one of the scenes my sister and I shot, I didn't think that it would have gone the way it went. That's why I brought Ocean. A lot of people's like, why would she bring her daughter? First of all, my daughter's grown. She is 29 years old. She's grown. And I brought her to that scene because my sister and I we hadn't talked since the Vegas. Me and her fell out in Vegas over business. I had went off on, which was her personal assistant who was being our road manager at the time, who left us. So I spazzed out on him. And she took up for him, and me and her got into it, and we didn't talk for a while. So even before filming, I was like, okay, I was calling, she wasn't answering. I called my mom. I'm like, before we start filming this new show, we need to make up. Because I didn't want us to be bickering and arguing on the show. I just didn't. It didn't make sense. But she didn't want to, oh, they going to see me turn up. I'm turning up on them. So I told Tiny, she turned up on who? Me and Kandi for what? Like... What you turn it up for? So it was already premeditated. So when I did the scene with her and I came in the house, I was actually glad to see her. She looked real pretty. I have never seen her in heels. You know how my sister dressed. She doesn't dress up.
Well, she did during the season.
Yeah,
but
for
that
the season.
New.
So my first time seeing her, she had on heels. She had a cute little makeup hair. I was like, oh, you look so... I was like, hey, you look pretty. But it was like real stiff. It was like, and it was like from that moment, it was attack mode.
Tamika, it doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? When I sat down, she was like, you think you better than everybody. You don't know how to talk to people. So I was sitting there like, we really doing this right now in front of the cameras? Like, first of all, who you think you're talking to? Because that's not even who I am. Nobody in this world can say I made them feel like I was better than them. Just not who I am as a person. So she started saying all that, and then my mom started doing all this to me and took the phone out my hand. It was one scene where they both walked up on me, and she was like, "What you running for?" So it was like, I sat there and I felt attacked the whole time. We was like an hour in. So when the world saw me blow up, it was like, oh, she acting. Oh, that's a Tyler Perry. Like, no, I got tired of being beat up on. I was attacked that whole scene. Like, in front of, it got to the point where my daughter Ocean got up and walked out of the scene. She couldn't take it. She got up and walked out of the scene. And the producers were like, go back in there and help your mom.
Not help your mama.
They said, go in there and help your mama. And Ocean is that child that's like real laid back. She's like the peacemaker. Now, had that.
It would have went totally
It would have been different. You know what I mean? Because she's fed up. You know, she's fed up with the situation that the world is just now getting a taste of. They've been living it. So it's like to see your mom go through certain things, and I still tell them, hey, you still gotta love, you still gotta respect. But the hurt that they go through, you know what I mean? I can't explain that. But had Naya been there, the world, I'm glad she wasn't, because they would have been like, oh, she's so disrespectful. They would have thought she was just going off just to go off. They didn't see everything that happened. They didn't see my mom and my sister walking up on me, and I'm walking behind the couch.
Well, they cut in any scene, especially explosive scenes. It's like you only get about 3 minutes of a conversation that was 3 hours.
Right.
You know, so it's always tough when you watch it back, because you be like, that's not how it went. They should have showed this or they should have showed that. From the jump, like early on when the season started, you guys, you know, clearly started having some serious turmoil. And not to mention, the topic of the $30,000 came up in that very first.
And the reason why, let me tell you, a lot of people was like, how you gonna throw your sister under the bus? How you gonna talk about your family like that? Like, I was attacked, and I knew she was saying all this stuff that wasn't true about me, and I was like, okay, if I say this one thing that's true, I know how to shut them up. Well, my mom was like, well, I got your back when? Like, no, because when they stole from me, you didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? And it just came out. It wasn't premeditated. I didn't need no storyline, because when you talented as we are, you really don't need no storyline. The talent really speaks for itself, and that's not being, you know, vain or anything. That storyline we did not need, but she was saying, oh, my sister needed a storyline. I didn't need a storyline. I was being attacked in that scene. That was the only thing that I was like, let me get up out of it. I'm drowning. Let me get out of it. Y'all stole from me. That was my life jacket. And I put that life jacket on and got kicked out the house.
I think the other part of that is like to just be, you know, when I look at everything that's been said, obviously everybody, you know, your sister, everybody recognizes that's a family situation, but other people got blamed for that coming up. Right. Everybody want to say, oh, Mona Scott was causing the drama. Nobody knew that you were going to say this.
Nobody knew I was going to get attacked in that first scene. Nobody knew that. We really thought. They were trying to make us go to the church, that first scene. They were trying to make us go to church. And I was like, I'm not going to church for us to sit here and talk about family issues when I already know where it could go. Like, I wasn't doing that. And so, like, my mom, my sister were like, oh, I was being selfish. I didn't want to be in the church. And I was so glad we did not go to the church with that. That pastor would have been so embarrassed. Everybody would have been so embarrassed. It just didn't make sense to go to the church. After I left, it was like everything that I, as a child, you know how you try to block things out of your memory, things that you've gone through. It was like everything just came up. And it was like I was just being choked all over again.
Tamika, I'm tired, Mom.
Even though the show has been over, we are still
going through
right now.
Do you want to talk about that? Or no?
Girl, what part?
Real life that is happening right now at this moment.
Okay, so we're still not talking.
Right.
We're not talking.
Even as a group, it's only 3 of us.
Yes. She's not talking to none of us. She changed her number. When I asked my mom for the number, she was saying, oh, she needs her peace. She wasn't ready to talk to me. And I'm like, but you would think that I did something to her. You know what I mean? Like, I started feeling guilty for something I didn't even do. And I'm like, okay, well, whenever she's ready to talk to me, then I guess we can figure it out. But in the interim, I needed my peace. And I didn't realize it till after time went by and I started healing and I started feeling free about certain situations. I was like, well, dang, that peace wasn't just for her. It was for me, too.
Oh, for sure. Because, I mean, I just kind of feel like for a long time, you have always suppressed your feelings or played down what your likes, your dislikes, what you wanted, what you needed for the sake of supporting your sister. Right. And in this moment of filming this show, it was just basically like, you know what? I'm tired of that. This is me. This is who I am. And I'm not bowing down anything I want to do for the sake of your feelings anymore.
Right. Because bowing down was making me neglect my children, my grandkids, my husband. Mm-hmm. Like when you put somebody in front of your husband and your kids, then that's more important. And it got to the point where, okay, this is not because I'm lacking in this area. They're lacking in this area, and I can't do that no more. I'm not little sister anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not the little one anymore. I'm your sister, but I'm not little sister.
Two questions. This is a twofold question. Okay. Since we're talking about the now, then what people are getting blamed for. I've seen people blame the show, blame you or blame us or whatever for Latasha's album not being able to do what it needed to do. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, I don't know if everybody knows, but that was supposed to be me and her deal.
But that's why I was going to ask you about that. Was part of the question. All, but go ahead, keep answering it.
Her, our old management got us the deal. She came down to my house. We sat, we talked, and I was like, I just feel like because she had started going to the studio writing songs, and I'm like, I want to write too. Mm-hmm. Like I write too. So everybody we know that the money comes from writing. So let's not be selfish. Mm-hmm. So we talked, and she was like, well. No, I said we should split everything down the middle. She's like, "Well, I'm the writer. You know, I'm the entertainer. I'm the singer. You can act. You know, stick to acting. Let me write." It was like she started getting mad, and I was like, "No, we need to split it down the middle. Let's be fair about the whole situation." And then after she left my house, she never mentioned it again, and that was way before we fell out in Vegas.
Before we started filming as well.
Right, before we started filming. Mm-hmm. And never heard of it. So I guess we wasn't doing it. Going to the other question, I don't know. I guess the show and people seeing how she was on the show, like if you go back and see the show, every time we tried to do business, it was, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. I got to pray about it. Instead of just being honest and say, hey, y'all, I got a deal. I'm not really messing with y'all right now. Y'all can go ahead and do what y'all got to do. I'm going to do what I got to do. Mm-hmm. But instead, it's like we were being stringing along. How you string somebody along.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I didn't really like because realistically, when we first started filming, I didn't know, and I don't think Tiny knew. Well, I don't even know if you knew that she had a deal in place because you didn't know that deal that you two had that she was going on and doing by herself.
Right.
So we didn't know coming into filming that she was working on an album. All we knew was, we're supposed to, the ultimate goal of this show, what we thought was for all of us to do a performance together. Right. But every time the conversation of a performance came up, she was acting like she didn't know if she wanted to do it. And it was just... Like, you guys may not know this from watching, but it took like 2 months for her to make a decision. And filming wasn't but 3 months, right?
Right.
So it took like 2 months for her to finally give us an answer on if she was going to perform with us or not for the sake of the show. But it was just kind of like weird because it's like, okay, the whole purpose of signing on to this, we knew we were supposed to be trying to do a show at the end, so we didn't understand that. And then when it finally came...
tour.
Right.
Or just a show and a tour.
Right. And when it finally came out that she was doing her own thing, I was like, okay, cool. But that shouldn't have had anything with her stopping this or slowing down this process.
Right. Because she could do both. And Tiny told her that. Mm-hmm. Tiny was like, you can do Escape and do your solo project.
But on the show, they actually never showed her telling you guys. Like, it never came full circle. Was there a point that they just left out? Like, did she ever actually tell you I got a deal?
We heard through other people.
So she never
came to us and said, I have a deal.
Yeah, I don't think we ever...
Because the show didn't show it, but I didn't know if it happened.
Did she? I don't think so.
She didn't come to us and tell us she had a deal. We didn't even know. We kept sitting there waiting every scene like, okay, what we doing? Are we going to move on? And she's like, me and my sister got issues. We're like, okay, we got issues, but business. People go to work every day with issues, but they go to work and do their job.
Exactly.
And they go home and deal with their issues.
And that's what I was saying about, because at first she was trying to make it seem like it was some issue with me. And I'm like, girl, we don't even really be talking like that no more.
They cut that part out.
They cut it out. They cut it out. But originally, when we had that meeting at Tiny's house, you and her was in full blown, y'all wasn't really talking at that point. But she made that whole conversation like her issue was with me. And I'm like,
and you remember when I was like, why are you worried about her? You need to be worried about trying to get it with your sister. Like, make up with your sister. You worried about being friends with Kandi. What about your sister?
Yeah,
they cut all that out.
Yeah, they took it out. I was so confused. I was like, man, you ain't even had no argument lately. Why are you trying to turn this on me? So honestly, I just kind of felt like I felt like her goal was to come into this show making me the enemy again. And I think she was trying to
turn up on us.
Was this?
And Tiny said, I don't know if you remember, she said that she felt like from their conversation that she was upset because we got back close. We were getting close.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why that is an issue or a problem.
Thanks for meeting your girl right smack in the middle. Yes, now that was some intense conversation. You know, when you have family and friends and you want everybody to kind of stick together, you know, and they don't, oh man, it's a problem for a person. But anyway, Tamika, Kandi, I really truly hope y'all get through with this. Keep up the friendship and pray on it. Prayers will answer some things. I'm a living witness. If you will, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Did I say hit that notification bell? Beat that notification bell and make those awesome comments. Until next time, thanks for watching.